Hello everybody, and welcome to Let's Play Kirby Star Allies for the Nintendo Switch. A game released recently, of course. I've been hearing a lot that it doesn't really hold up to the standards of Kirby, which there aren't really many to begin with, but I really want to dispel that idea because as a person who's played most Kirby games, I believe it's, one of the strongest in the series to date. So, if you don't know how a Kirby game plays, you can run, you can jump, you can float, you can inhale enemies, and you can spit them back out. You can inhale blocks and spit them back out as well. You can inhale enemies and eat them. Some enemies aren't so simple. And then of course, because it's a Kirby game, you can inhale enemies and copy their ability. Each ability gives you a completely different moveset, and as of Return to Dreamland, they're all fleshed out to the max. Everyone has at least 5 moves. So you can really adjust your playstyle to whatever ability you like the most. But above all, we can love. Yeah, I'm sure you all don't need to be told, because I'm sure you all know, the main gimmick of this game is you're able to recruit enemies to be your friends by the use of friend hearts, of course, because why would they be called anything else? This, of course, allows you to have multiple abilities at your use at any given time. Your partners pretty much act like the same thing as you. You can recruit up to 3 other partners at the same time, adding up to 4 as a total. I'm just going to knock this guy out because we already have Sword. And of course, another one of the big things in this game is comboing different abilities. And one of the biggest concerns is whether it would be comboing abilities like Kirby 64 or like, was it Amazing Mirror? Where it was basically like an elemental change, whereas 64 was, if it's an ability, it can be combined with any other ability to make something completely brand new. And it is actually element based. It's not like the Kirby 64 version where you could, there were at least 100 abilities in that game for sure. It had plenty. And I do want to go in depth as to how these abilities interact with each other, but I don't want to go into that until we see a bit more of them because it can be a lot to take in at one time. So here we have a fire elemental. Yeah, it wants us to make a friend with it. So, we get him, and now he can imbue fire onto our sword, giving us the Sizzle Sword. Now this can be done with many elements, including electricity, ice, water, air. I believe those are the basic elements. And those can be imbued onto any physical element that you have, whether it's sword, whether it's cutter. In fact, I believe even bomb can get combined in this way. So if you hold up, your partners will also hold up their weapons to be combined. And if I can get them to get the cutter there, that would be great. It does show this little animation for every new ability you unlock, so it is cool. And one of the coolest things about this is that there will be puzzles that require you to have a certain combination. If you have any kind of cutting ability, it can be sword, it can be cutter, it'll cut this bomb off, but it won't light it. If you just light the bomb with fire, it won't hit those rocks down there to solve the puzzle. But if you have both combined, you can cut it down and light the fuse at the same time, solving the puzzle. Now this is where the real beauty of this game comes in. The fact that there's just there's a whole chemistry system with how elements interact with other things. Fire will light the fuse. In addition to that, anything that has a fire-like element will light the fuse, such as the little Kamehameha wave from the fighting ability. And it's really in-depth, and that's the best part of this game by far. Now I do want to get a bit more in-depth with the abilities. So here I have a screen showing you all the abilities separated into certain categories. I have 4 categories here. The elemental and physical can all be combined with each other. All of the elemental abilities can be imbued upon the physical abilities. So they all have Bluster Sword, Sizzle Sword, Lightning Sword, all of that for every ability. The other sections are for anything that's an exception. The special section has special combinations between these abilities. For example, Rock actually does combine with all the elements, but it's not in a permanent way like all the physical abilities are. It's temporary. In addition to this, both the Artist ability and ESP ability have a special combination with Rock, so this, of course, puts them in the special category as well. In addition to this, I have the Solo section, which just means that all of these abilities don't have to be with any specific ability to be combined. For example, like Sword, it would have to be an elemental ability being used upon it, like Ice here, which is Blizzard Sword. No, any of these ones at the bottom can be used on any friend, or sometimes don't even need another friend. For the example of Parasol, you just make a big umbrella. You don't really need anyone else to do it for you. Or for the example of, say, Beetle, it actually allows you to throw a friend, and it doesn't matter what element they are. So that's just what that section's for. Of course, if you have fire, you can use it to cut this grass down. Are they not going to do it? Oh, I guess they were expecting me to do it because I have Sword. Anyway, there's one main collectible in each stage, and that is these colorful puzzle pieces. You've probably seen the tiny puzzle pieces we've been collecting up to this point. Those really aren't consequential at all. You don't need to find those, but the rainbow puzzle piece is actually important for 100%ing the game, so we'll be collecting each of those in every stage. And I guess they do kind of replace the code cubes or the sunstones from Triple Deluxe and Robobot. It's just they don't have as much of an importance to the game as those collectibles did. So at the end of every stage, you will see this giant golden arch, and you get to play a little mini game. If you get to the top, you actually get an extra puzzle piece, and luckily we did. It does show you the timing. The little spring becomes purple, so makes it a little easier to get to the top. We did it. And of course, this rewards you with full HP, a bunch of stars, and an extra puzzle piece. At the end of every stage, it will fill in all the missing pieces that you've collected so far. There are 9 puzzles to create, and I want to tell you this right now before we get too into it. These don't matter in the slightest. There is absolutely no reason for you to collect these puzzle pieces other than personal satisfaction, so please don't feel like you have to do it. Even the special puzzle pieces to that extent aren't important at all to the game if you want to see all the content. There is a certain other collectible that we'll be finding in this stage that will be littered across stages. They're not in every stage, but they do allow you to go to special stages that you wouldn't unlock otherwise. And I guess that's really the equivalent to the Code Cube or the Sunstone in this game. I guess these rainbow puzzle pieces are more of like the keychains or the stickers of this game. However, it's just sad that after the great idea of stickers, like that actually impact the game a little bit, they have something that, once again, like the keychains in Triple Deluxe, don't really have any bearing on the actual gameplay. So it is a little bit disappointing, but they're still kind of cool regardless. It really just reminds me of Street Pass from 3DS, if you remember that. I mean, it's not like it's not around anymore. Also, I want to point out, you can also be imbued with water. As far as like the abilities go, water and ice are practically the same. They are super effective on, fire enemies, and they can put out fire on any elemental hazards that you see. So I guess there's a couple of things that water can do that ice actually can't. And of course, each different element adds a different ability to every physical element as well. That's hard to explain. So like if you imbue fire on your physical ability, it'll drastically increase the attack power of the weapon. If you add electricity, it'll actually add range to the attacks of the weapon. And then Bluster, which we haven't actually seen yet, which is the wind combination, makes your combos more effective. So, for example, if you use Final Cutter with Bluster on it, it can be an infinite ability. You can just keep on comboing it forever and ever. And it's probably one of the better combinations Bluster is, just because it adds such a unique addition to each of your physical attacks that's more interesting than just fire or spark or anything like that. And then Ice adds it makes the attacks more smooth, I feel like, at the very... I want that rock, actually. and I think it's about time, high time we get rid of our ability here. Oh yeah, as you can see, they add in little like splash effects here. I don't want to hurt that dude, and he's dead. I believe we can, okay, I'll friend him, whatever, please. Thank you. I'm going to replace Dribbly. We already have water on our team, so we don't really need that. Actually, I can get stone myself. So, the reason stone is unique. If you apply an element to it, it's a temporary attack, not permanent. And it basically turns into the curling attack that you see here, no matter what ability you put on it. It does have slightly different properties if you use a different element on it. For example, if you put wind on it to make a, I guess it's called bluster curling, then you'll actually float in the air if you go off the edge. And then of course if you have ice, you'll actually go along longer because you have, well, you're icy, everything's slippery. And of course the basic stone ability can do what it usually does, which is slide down areas like so. It can also activate these little pound things, which hammer can also do, but we haven't seen that and we are not going to see it for a while, so stone's really the only way you can activate those secrets for now. But in addition to that, art has a special ability with it, with stone, and so does ESP. And it looks like we already have what we need here, so we'll just have them use that. Yeah, you can see it can be used to get through those special rocks that otherwise you wouldn't be able to break open. You do that for 4 puzzle pieces. That's another thing. Like puzzle pieces, there's so many more puzzle pieces than there were keychains in Triple Deluxe or stickers in Robobot. And as a result, it kind of makes grabbing a keychain, or not a keychain, we're talking about puzzle pieces here. It makes grabbing a puzzle piece less rewarding feeling. Whenever you grab a sticker, you're like, yes, we're gonna get a new sticker for our Robobot. Or, you know, a keychain, you know, there just weren't many of those in the base game, so it's like, well, these are unique. In this game, it's just like, well, there's 1,000 puzzle pieces that could be used at any point, so it's just weird. Also, ice, of course, has the ability to imbue ice upon any of these enemies. And you can use it to quickly knock out anyone in the room. Luckily, it doesn't show that whole animation of being like, oh, you got a new ability every time you use it. Although I believe you can actually set it to the settings to where it will do that. And you'll notice that the ice is actually always being used first. There's our rainbow. I don't know exactly what those are called. I'm just gonna call them rainbow puzzle pieces, just because that's what comes to mind first. Also, I love these loading screens, by the way. The whole dot gradient art style that this game has is absolutely beautiful. I'm never going to get over it. So here's a new ability. I believe, how exactly do I get rid of my, no, don't y'all dare. That's right, the computers have a mind of their own, so they can kind of do whatever. I'm gonna be real, I don't know how to get rid of my abilities. Let me go into the settings here. I guess this is a good thing to show off. This is our pause screen. You can continue the game, exit the stage, or use an amiibo. I'll show off what those do later. And you can read a little splash screen about what your ability is. Look cool, be invincible, and slide down slopes. You can turn into various things and pound down pegs. You can even do some curling with water or ice, or float above your friends and then drop on them. Who knows what sort of stone sculptures you'll see. And then you can see all of the abilities you can do. A list of all the moves you can possibly do. The stone uppercut's the only thing that's not just, you know, turning into a rock. Yeah, you can see Geokinesis. That's not anything like anything else in the game. And then you have the piggyback controls, which I'll show off in a second here. Drop ability is A. Okay, I am using type B controls, so they are a little bit different. Oh, don't you dare kill us. Thank you. So, this is a new ability. This is Festival. It gives all of your partners a temporary attack buff, and it acts as basically a screen nuke. So that's really cool. I don't think I can eat anything once they're frozen. It's pretty neat as far as the screen clearing abilities go. This is the other special thing that we'll be finding in a couple of the stages. This is a callback to Kirby's Adventure. If you remember, you actually hit a little switch and it'll open up a secret stage. The same rings true for this area, except this one opens the Dream Palace, oddly enough. There will be switches that open up secret stages as well. And for now, that one was required. For the rest of the game, the switches will have to be found in a secret area. That's just to present the fact that you will be finding switches in this game. And you've seen all of our special collectibles so far in the entire game. There's the rainbow puzzle pieces, and then there's the switches, and that's it. That's all you have to look forward to. It is a little bit shallow as far as the secrets go. You know how all the other games had code cubes you would find in addition to the secret, the special sticker or whatever. So it is a little disappointing that there's not as much secrets to find, but it's still cool nonetheless. And so we had 10 puzzle pieces here. They will unlock in order, so as you can see, we're mainly doing 2 different puzzles here. Well, as we knock out the current puzzles we have, we will move on to later puzzles. That's how that works. It just really doesn't impact anything in the game. Anyway, I'm gonna call it at that for this episode. In the next episode, we're going to be going into the Dream Palace to see exactly what that is, and we'll be moving on in Dreamland. You might meet legendary characters. The Dream Palace is now unlocked. Yep, and we've completed Donut Dome. The little heart just signifies you've beaten the level, that's it. So, in the next episode, we'll do all that. See you all then, and goodbye.